Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the animated worlds that shaped our childhood. From SpongeBob to Scooby-Doo, we're uncovering the hidden secrets, Easter eggs, and little-known facts about the cartoons we all grew up with. Buckle up, it's going to be a nostalgic ride. Let's kick things off with the underwater world of Bikini Bottom. Did you know that the character of SpongeBob was originally designed to be a square version of a regular sea sponge? But here's the kicker. The creators gave him a ridiculously high-pitched voice because they wanted him to be as annoying as possible. The show also has a ton of hidden scientific references. For instance, Patrick's Rock House? It's based on an actual rock formation called bristlecone pine. And don't forget about the real-world animal inspirations for characters like Sandy the squirrel. Did you know squirrels are known for their quirky personalities? Just like Sandy? Next up, who can forget the classic chase between Tom and Jerry? Here's a fun fact. The show didn't use any dialogue at all for many years. That's right, just pure visual comedy and the iconic sounds of chaos. But did you notice something subtle in the background? In many episodes, you'll find tiny Easter eggs hidden in the art. For example, the famous House of Mouse Easter egg was snuck into a few episodes, featuring silhouettes of other Disney characters. Plus, Tom and Jerry's endless struggle symbolizes the classic battle of the hunter and the hunted, but in the funniest, most chaotic way possible. Let's roll into bedrock with the Flintstones. You might think it's just a cartoon about a prehistoric family, but there's much more to it than meets the eye. Did you know Fred and Wilma were actually inspired by The Honeymooners, a popular sitcom from the 50s? But here's where it gets interesting. The characters' names are based on stone-related words like Flint for Fred and Slate for their neighbor. And Fred's car? That's a reference to ancient transportation, but it also cleverly mimicked the modern cars of the time, a way to poke fun at consumerism. Moving on to the wild world of Looney Tunes. You thought it was just about slapstick humor, but it's actually filled with hidden gems. For example, did you know that Bugs Bunny's carrot-chewing habit was inspired by the actor James Cagney's role in The Public Enemy? And those classical music scores? They were often used as a comedic backdrop, and they even poked fun at the highbrow culture of the time. If you look closely, you'll find subtle nods to pop culture and famous Hollywood stars hidden in the background art. Next, let's talk about Scooby-Doo, where the mystery was always more than just a ghost hunt. Have you ever noticed the eerie similarities between Scooby's gang and the 1960s counterculture? Fred is the cool guy, Daphne is the fashionista, Velma is the brains, and Shaggy? Well, he's the stoner stereotype. But did you know that the name Scooby-Doo came from Frank Sinatra's song, Strangers in the Night? Plus, if you look closely, the villains in Scooby-Doo are often dressed in ways that mirror real-life fears, like corporate corruption and the unknown. Now, let's take a peek at The Simpsons, the longest-running animated sitcom ever. This show is packed with Easter eggs and hidden predictions. For example, The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump becoming president years before it actually happened. But that's not all. The show also features a ton of clever references to pop culture, history, and even science. Every time Homer says, "dough," he's technically demonstrating Newton's third law of motion. Talk about sneaky science. Next, let's talk about the Powerpuff Girls. These girls may have been saving Townsville, but the show had some serious themes hidden beneath all that crime-fighting action. Did you know the show was a subtle feminist statement, with strong female characters in a predominantly male-driven superhero world? Plus, the trio's personalities were inspired by the classic superhero tropes, but with a twist. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup each represented a different aspect of childhood innocence and rebellion. And if you pay attention, you'll see many pop culture references, including cameos from real-life figures like Stan Lee. Who can forget the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? But did you know that each turtle's personality was inspired by classic comic book tropes? Leonardo, the leader, was based on the noble hero archetype, while Raphael was inspired by the angry anti-hero. And the names? They're all named after Renaissance artists: Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. But the real surprise? The Turtles' origin story was a parody of the superhero genre, poking fun at the absurdity of how heroes get their powers. Next, let's dive into DuckTales. This show was filled with Easter eggs and historical references. Did you know that Scrooge McDuck's money bin was inspired by the golden age of piracy? and his treasure hunts often paralleled the real-life adventures of explorers and treasure hunters. The show even featured obscure historical figures and references to classic adventure stories, adding a layer of depth that made it so much more than just a fun kids' show. And lastly, let's talk about Batman, the animated series. This wasn't just another superhero cartoon. It was a masterpiece of visual storytelling. The show's art style was heavily influenced by film noir, and every scene was designed to look like a classic detective movie. But it also included hidden references to classic cinema and even real-world issues. The show's darker tone and mature themes made it stand out, offering more than just punchlines and fight scenes. So, there you have it. From secret messages to historical nods, these childhood cartoons were full of hidden treasures. What was your favorite Easter egg? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun, quirky videos. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for the secrets hidden in plain sight.